Great to see you, and let's jump in right about your show. It's one of the most popular TV series all over, Glee. Tell me, what is that experience like?
It's an amazing experience because I tell my actor friends that I've been in the trenches, man, you know, like doing small parts, this and that, and been struggling. And I've been lucky enough to be a working actor for at least 15 years now. And when I started back in the early 90s, you know, there were hardly any South Asian faces on television and in the movies. And now it's such a great time to be a South Indian, because almost every network has at least one show that has a major South Asian character as recurring or regular, which is absolutely wonderful and joyful. And being on Glee has really changed, you know, my life here. Financially, of course, but also in terms of exposure. It's been wonderful, and also not to mention it's a good show. It's not just like any show which is popular, but it's something which is well written, and it's a musical, something that us Desis can, you know, relate to, you know.
It's like a Bollywood TV show.
Right, and it's a wonderful experience. I get to work with, you know, likes of Jane Lynch and Matthew Morrison and Leah Michelle and all those wonderful people.
So tell me, rewinding back, I was reading about the fact that you got your break because of nip tuck. Is that true?
No, the break in acting, no. I got Glee because I was on nip tuck.
Glee.
Right, because Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, they were producing Nip Tuck, and I did Nip Tuck for them. And after they wrote Glee and they were casting, and they were having trouble finding, you know, someone to play Principal Figgins. It was written for a Caucasian person, and that's what they were looking at, and they just could not find anyone. And the story has it that Brad Falchuk, you know, along with Ryan Murphy and some of the producers and writers, they were discussing like, oh God, who should we bring in to play Figgins? And Brad said, oh, you know what, why not Iqbal? He was great on Nip Tuck, and let him read for it. So I get the call, and you know, I read for the part along with a bunch of, you know, Caucasian actors, and I was the one who got the part. So
what is that like, being on a television show and it is a musical, so it's very different, and the tracks are redone, yet the music is so popular?
Yeah.
What's that feeling like?
It's something, there's something about music, you know, that brings everyone together, and it becomes so much more stronger because it's, you know, poetry, you know, words and sound. And to me, a good musical is good only when music comes in, when human language, you know, cannot express what you're saying, what needs to be said. And a point comes when the character is talking, and then something happens, and the only way that character can express, you know, what's going on is through music, you know, and I think Glee does that. And I just thought of something, you know, an Indian film. What I'm trying to describe. If there's an old movie starring Raj Kapoor and Nargis, you know, I love Nargis, you know, and the movie is, I think, Chori Chori, and is it Chori Chori or Shri 420? I don't know which one, but there's a scene, you know, it's raining, and Raj Kapoor is holding an umbrella.
Shri 420.
Shri 420, you know, Pyar Hua, and they're you know, he gives her the umbrella and she gives it back. He gives it, and there's something going on, and then it starts, Pyar hua, ikrar hua hai pyar, and you know, and you go, oh. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I think, when it's done in a good way, you get, you know, a moment like, you know, that I just described in Shri 420 and moments in Glee.
Do you get recognized on the streets as Principal Figgins?
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, you don't know a show like that. Of course, that's part of the deal. Yeah, I try to enjoy it. My wife gets a bit annoyed, you know, at times, you know, but I like it. I enjoy it because I know it's fleeting. You know, it like comes and goes. You know, fame is such a it can fizzle out, you know. So I don't take it that seriously, because ultimately I'm an actor and I am doing it because I love the art and craft of it, you know. And if fame and money comes, you know, that's fine, you know, but that's not what it's about.
You are a trendsetter, pioneer. 90s, you did a spate of commercials and you've done some pretty big films.
Right, I mean, like when I came here in March 91, there were hardly any South Asians. And I remember, you know, making call after call, you know, when I was trying to find an agent, you know. And there was at least one agent who said, you know, I don't know if, you know, they're hiring somebody like you. I don't think I can get you work, you know. So I'm sorry, I can't really take you on. And he was right, you know, that person was right. You can't really blame them. But then, you know, people like us have to, you know, start somewhere. Somebody has to, you know, step up and, you know, say, okay, I'm going to change things. So, I mean, when I became an actor, it was only because I loved acting, you know. But being who I am, you know, being a South Asian, a dark face, you have to also face and accept some of the realities. And I did that at time. And I knew that, you know, it's going to be hard, but I would also be one of the first ones, you know, that they'll see, you know. And once I started to do, you know, all those shows, and especially commercials, and commercial casting was so much more open, you know, than television and film, which was really a surprise for me, because I thought to do a commercial you have to look like a mainstream person or something, or sound like one, which is not the case. You know, I did commercial after commercial and became kind of a familiar face on American television and in the mid-90s. So that's how it started, you know. And of course I'm not the only one, you know. There were other actors, but I think I had, you know, a lot more success than some others, so I got lucky.
You've been on some big film sets. What is the transition like from film now to television, more so?
Well, for me, it's not that difficult. But I think if I were a woman, you know, then it would be hard for me to get into films once I cross 35, you know. A 35-year-old woman, you know, in Hollywood is not, especially if you're not like already famous or something, it's hard to, because film is still very sexist, I think, you know. Television is much more open, you know. There's so many shows with strong, good female characters. You know, Archie Punjabi, you know, God bless her, you know, she's doing Good Wife. So you'll find, you know, women, you know, playing great parts. But if you look at films, you know, the film has a long way to go. I mean, forget South Asians and blacks and Hispanics, you know, start with like, you know, bring some more women, for God's sake, you know. Like, look at any casting call and count the number of, you know, characters, male characters. There's so many, you know. You know, if I were a woman in my 40s, I would be done, you know, by now. And I would be like living in a suburb or someplace, you know, raising a family, which is a wonderful thing to do, but it's tough, you know, if you're a woman.
Right. Well, we definitely appreciate your candor.
It's true.
No.
It is. It's true.
So what do you think about a show like Outsource?
Oh God, I love Outsource. You know, and I know a lot of Indians and Pakistanis have issues with it, you know, but please bear in mind that we have a show with a bunch of South Asian faces. It is a milestone. It is a big bloody achievement.
It's good for everyone.
And I think it's great for everyone.
Absolutely.
You know, look at some of the African American, you know, characters in the beginning, back in the 1930s. Look at Gone with the Wind. You know, the way blacks were portrayed at that time, but those actors took it, you know, took the roles and said, okay, this is the start. I'm going to do the best I can, and a day will come when I can tell my own stories, and, you know, I'll become more mainstream and more acceptable. So that's what, and we haven't done that bad actually, considering, you know, there aren't that many South Asians, you know, and maybe what, like 3% of the population, 2-3%,
right.
And look at us, you know.
Yeah.
There's so many. I'm on Glee. Danny Pudi is on Community. You know, Archie Punjabi is on Good Wife, and then we have God. There's so many. Outsource, the whole cast almost. you know. So we should be really proud of what we've achieved, and, you know, appreciate and thank NBC for putting a show like Outsource in the mainstream, you know, market in prime time.
Now, speaking of Community, are you coming back? Is your character coming back?
I hope so. I mean, I don't know because I don't make those decisions, you know. But call, you know, Dan Harmon, the producer, and other producers, and NBC, and say, hey, I want to say Iqbal, damn it, bring him back.
So what can you tell us and share with us and our Showbiz India viewers?
Yeah.
Something that we don't know about Glee.
We're shooting an episode called Born This Way, and the bully, you know, David Karofsky, that's the name of the character, played by wonderful Max Adler. He decides that it's time for him to change. So he forms sort of like a guardian angels thing, you know, and he asks my permission, and I'm with him. So him and Principal Figgin, and they say, okay, no bullying at William McKinley, you know. And Principal Figgin's orders that the bully whips, the guardian angel kind of organization, will roam the halls of McKinley High and stop bullying in its tracks. So that's what the story is about, and I don't think I've told anyone else that.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for sharing. And what can we look forward to in the future from you as an actor?
Well, I know I'm going to be doing a movie. I can't really tell you the name because they haven't closed the deal, but it's a major film, and I'll shoot it in May.
That big. All right, well.
It's a movie.
Sounds good. So, in conclusion, can we request you to perhaps do a rendition of a favorite song? Because you have a great voice, I heard it.
Do I? I don't know. I don't think Glee people know that. Tell that to Ryan Murphy. Oh no, but I want to sing a Desi song, of course, you know.
Sing whatever you like to.
My favorite, all-time favorite song, all time, the most romantic, wonderful song is, you know, Aaja sanam madhur chandni mein hum tum mile to virane mein bhi aa jayegi bahar, jhoomne lagega aasmaan, jhoomne lagega aasmaan.
Beautiful. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
being on with us, and we look forward to meeting you again very soon.
Thank you, Reshma.
Thank you.